The heat is on as summer temperatures rise in parts of the U.S. People in South Texas are enduring record high temperatures over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Power grid stresses may cause Texans and other Americans to experience rolling brownouts. But what would happen if the country experienced more than just temporary interruptions in the electrical power supply? Well, our next guest believes an electromagnetic pulse attack may not only be likely, but imminent. Historian Dr. William Fortune is a New York Times best-selling author and expert on EMPs. His latest novel is 5 Years After, a political thriller about the aftermath of an EMP attack on America. That's out in August. Bill, it's a pleasure to talk with you. So what would an EMP attack on America look like? What would happen?
Okay, EMP, shorthand for electromagnetic pulse. It's created by launching ICBM launch. North Korea would be a likely candidate. Loft a missile 200 miles above the United States, detonate the nuclear warhead, sets up a cascading electromagnetic effect known as the Compton effect. Hits the Earth's surface, feeds into our electrical wiring, it starts shorting out the entire power grid. If they launch 3 missiles, eastern, central, western United States, it would shut our grid down permanently. The frightening figures are upwards of 90% of all Americans would perish within a year or two with the electricity gone.
Wow. So why do you think this is likely even imminent?
For a lot of different reasons. Sooner or later, somebody's going to try to do this. We've known about this response to nuclear weapons for 40 or more years. North Korea is the one I watch closely, followed by Iran, and then terrorist third states that might obtain a nuclear weapon. It will happen at some point. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow, but at some point it will happen.
And that's because you're a historian, you look at military history and the use of weaponry, or what brought you to that conclusion?
Well, a weapon system has never been designed without being used. Catapults, bows, tanks, nuclear weapons. Sooner or later, somebody is going to use this against an opponent.
Who else would be the aggressors here? China, Russia, they have the technology. Who would do this other than North Korea?
I don't see Russia or China doing it because we would do it back. North Korea actually does already have the capability. North Korea has the capacity to launch a missile at least to the west coast of the United States, and they've had it for several years now. They're the players I worry about.
So how long would it take to restore order, normalcy? Would we ever get back to normal?
No. DOE studies several years back indicated that 50% to 80% of our power grid would still be offline 5 years later.
Okay, now let's talk about water, because people don't think about that. I mean, if you live out in the western part of the U.S., you're very focused on water because of the dry conditions. But what would it mean for the entire country when it comes to water supply?
Well, I'll ask you a quick question. When you got up this morning, where did your water come from?
Yeah, it came from my faucet.
Yes, so yeah, it miraculously comes out of the faucet. It requires electrical power. Electricity is the fundamental building block of our society. We lose our water, we lose our food. About 20 days food is about the max for most towns. We lose medication, we lose command and control, we lose it all.
And there's a great emphasis right now, Bill, on electric vehicles. The president would like to see us move in that direction. So how about just combustible engines?
Well, what are called ICE, internal combustion engine cars. Estimates are any car made after about 1980, anywhere from 10 to 70 to 80% of those cars would short circuit as well.
So we'd really be out of luck, wouldn't we?
Yeah, and the frustrating thing of it is we are currently spending $1 trillion on green energy, and I support some of that, but we're not spending money on the basic infrastructure of electricity. The average component in our electrical grid is upwards of 40 years old. We're pumping electricity in 2023 in a 1970s, 1980s system. And we're actually decreasing our generating capacity at the moment, which is crazy.
Well, what else do we need to do then to protect our nation and people?
We need to have a robust return to generate electricity in a meaningful way using natural gas is one. Secondly, spare parts. All those spare parts we need, the big transformers, where do you think they're made?
China.
China. Yeah. We farmed out all the components of our electrical grid decades ago. That would be like on December 7th, 1941, we had to admit, gee, all our aircraft carriers are made in Japan, our planes are made in Germany. We need a homegrown return of industrialization to support the electrical grid.
Okay, the novel is 5 years after, the latest in the series from Dr.
Mr. President, we have a national emergency.
Nuclear weapon atop a ballistic missile has been launched from a freighter off the coast of the United States. The weapon is not designed to kill Americans, at least not directly and right away. Instead, it is meant to unleash EMP, an electromagnetic pulse that destroys electronic devices and power grids. The single explosion unleashes electronic waves 1,000,000 times more powerful than any radio signal on Earth. In the United States, nearly all computers fail. Telecommunications end. Transportation comes to a halt. The stock market's crippled. Bank accounts disappear. Federal officials warn EMP could paralyze America, instantly returning our country to a pre-industrial age. And they say we are utterly unprepared for it.
If you think about the effect of an electromagnetic pulse, it would be a devastating impact. Not only would the power grid be out, it would be out for probably months, but every piece of electronics that we use, from pacemakers to phones to cars to gasoline pumps to water pumps, would all be fried.
With such weapons, an EMP weapon, meaning a small nuclear bomb, detonated above the center of the United States would literally take down the entire power grid of this country.
Wow.
Plunging us back 300 to 400 years.
An EMP produces damaging current and voltage surges, burning out the semiconductor chip of any electronic device within line of sight. The result of that is a complete shutdown of the electronic system. Were the blast to occur high enough, the entire continental United States would be left with no electric power or the things that depend on electric power.
Medical services wouldn't be available because they needed electric power. Telephones wouldn't work. The traffic lights would stop working. Big traffic jam. Transportation would be shut down. Electronic funds transfer wouldn't work, so you wouldn't get your paycheck. You wouldn't be able to use your credit card. Food stocks would run out very quickly. Everything we know about life today that makes it convenient and efficient would be shut down.
It would mean that basically we would go back to a pre-industrial era overnight, in seconds.
Pentagon estimates show that by the year 2015, Iran could have missiles capable of reaching the east coast of the United States. If the Iranians acquire a nuclear bomb, they might be able to cripple their great Satan even sooner through an electromagnetic pulse or EMP attack off America's coastline. Iranian military handbooks point out the benefits of such an attack, and Russia, China, and North Korea also possess EMP technology.
Within a year of an EMP event, at least 2/3 of the American population would perish from starvation, disease, and societal collapse.
Prize nightmare scenario shows Iran or its terrorist proxy Hezbollah parking an unmarked freighter off America's east coast or in the Gulf of Mexico. They would fire a nuclear-tipped Scud above a city like New York, then immediately sink the freighter to destroy evidence of their handiwork. Former CIA double agent Reza Khalili spent time as a member of Iran's Revolutionary Guards Corps. He says the Iranians have conducted missile tests off of ships in the Caspian Sea that are consistent with an EMP-style attack. We've disguised his face and voice for his safety.
They're going to get to Gulf of Mexico with ballistic missiles, and they can launch one at a moment's notice, and they wouldn't care about the repercussion.
They had a commission that put reports out on this years ago that projected 90% of all Americans could be dead within a year after such an attack.
This is a catastrophic threat waiting to happen, and that North Korea, China, and Russia all understand it and are all working on it.
I was out at a conference near Los Alamos of our country's leading experts. That was one worried crew.
What if everything stopped working? What if you woke up one morning and nothing worked? What if there was no electricity, No telephones, no cars, no running water. What if everything just stopped working? How would you contact your family? How would you live? How long would you live?
The idea that we're going to suddenly be shocked one morning because one of these missiles has a nuclear weapon and does something that dramatically changes America, I think is a very dangerous idea, and I find it very difficult to watch the U.S. government be passive as the North Korean dictatorship continues to develop its capacity to deliver nuclear weapons.
Or what are we working on to prevent it?
Nothing.
We in the West, in the democracies, have a propensity to lie to ourselves, just as we did in the 1930s about Adolf Hitler and about Nazism.
The congressional study EMP report from 2004 indicated potential casualty rates of 90%. That commission was disbanded back in the spring.
We have been kidding ourselves. The North Koreans have been steadily working towards this capacity. The Iranians are laughing at us as they continue to build more and more centrifuges to build the capacity for nuclear weapons. Hamas laughs at us as they continue to fire missiles into Israel.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'm begin by giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai by Hashem Kadash, the belongs to the others and apostles of great millstone. Well, peace, blessings, salutations to those for electors out there pushing, laboring, believing, and listening on to His truth with our sincerity. All right, may the blessing and election be upon your houses. All right, I played 2 clips, to start the video off, basically just going into, EMPs and what they are and how they can affect, the world and the people. Okay, and as we know, in the news has been talk of EMP attacks, cyber warfare. Today, there was a whole lot of cell phone services was out, outages, so just going to show you the times that we are in. All right, but I was doing some research on EMPs, and there's actually 3 different types of EMPs, right? Or I should say 3 different levels. All right, and I'll put a link for this in the description box of the video. All right, I'm gonna start at the lowest one, which is the E3. All right, this is the E3. It says the E3 component is very different from the other 2 major components of nuclear EMP. The E3 component of the pulse is a very slow pulse lasting tens to hundreds of seconds that is caused by the nuclear detonation, heavying the Earth's magnetic field out of the way, followed by a restoration of the magnetic field to its natural place. The E3 component has similarities to a geomagnetic storm caused by a very severe solar coronal mass ejection. All right, so pretty much is the rest of this pretty much is going into the more nitty gritty of it. All right, this is the E2. The E2 component is generated by scattered gamma rays and inelastic gammas produced by weapon neutrons. The E2 component is an intermediate time pulse that by the IEC definitions lasts from about 1 microsecond to 1 second after the beginning of the electromagnetic pulse. The E2 component of the pulse has many similarities to the electromagnetic pulses produced by lightning. Although the electromagnetic pulse induced by a very close lightning strike may be considerably larger than the E2 of a nuclear EMP because of the similarities to lightning-caused pulses and the widespread use of lightning protection technology, the E2 pulse is generally considered to be the easiest to protect against. All right, that's the E2. Now, the E1, which is the strongest level of an EMP. All right, Salakia. All right, calm. So this is the E1. The E1 pulse is a very fast component of nuclear EMP. The E1 component is a very brief but intense electromagnetic field that can quickly induce very high voltages in electrical conductors. The E1 component causes Salakia, man, Satan. I got everything on silent right now and stuff is still ringing. All right, but we're going to get back to it. All right. So let's start from the top again for E1. The E1 pulse is the very fast component of the nuclear EMP. The E1 component is a very brief but intense electromagnetic field that can quickly induce very high voltages in electrical conductors. The E1 component causes most of its damage by causing electrical breakdown voltages to be exceeded. E1 is the component that can destroy computers and communications equipment, and it changes too fast for ordinary lightning protectors to provide effective protection against it. Consumer transient protectors are becoming increasingly able to handle faster rise time pulses, though there are special transient protectors that are fast enough to suppress nuclear EMP, right? That's why, they got those Faraday cases, right? I believe there's a company called Faraday something, right? They make those different bags to fight from to protect electronics in the EMP attack. I even seen matter of fact, I even seen a company that makes these things that goes into your car engine and it connects to your car battery. All right, and it's supposed to protect your car battery in case of an EMP, so you can still drive your car, right? And I was looking into it, and people were talking that in the reviews or the comments, like, you're never gonna know if this works until an EMP happens, right? If an EMP happens and it doesn't work, ain't no money back guaranteed. Right? It could completely be a scam. But hey, they got stuff out there, for that. But nevertheless, it just goes to show you, the possibility, the different levels. All right, the reality of the times we are in. Prophecies are moving. War is happening. All right, rumors of war is happening. All right, pestilence is famine. All right, destruction, uproars of people, earthquakes. All right, the earth is in shambles right now. All right, so the possibility of an EMP happening in Babylon is going to happen very, very, very soon. Okay, very soon. All right. That's why, we're going to need, that hedge of protection over us. And like the videos were saying, hey, when that power goes out, majority of Babylonians going to die. All right. Because without water, people are going to have to basically live off the land. And majority of people don't know how to do these things. All right, they need to go to a Walmart, a Kroger, a Publix, and all these different grocery stores, Uber Eats, DoorDash, in order to survive. Without these things, all right, they're not going to know how to till the land or how to, be a pilgrim. Okay. Let me grab this. This is Ezra 16:40. O my people, hear my word. Make you ready to thy battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. Right? The times it was troubled, times of all hell break loose. We're gonna be pilgrims. All right, on the planet Earth, we're gonna be pilgrims. All right, constantly moving. All right, going from place to place. All right. This is Isaiah 33:6, and it reads, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. All right. Right. Us knowing, having that download, having that foresight to know what's to come. Right. Because we have the scriptures, through the Spirit of Yahweh Shema Shah, we're able to understand and break down the scriptures and know the future. All right, so this wisdom and knowledge of the scriptures is going to keep us stable, going to keep us sane in these times while people out here going, all hell break loose. They going mad, running around like a chicken with their head cut off. All right, we going to have that stability, right? We going to have that sanity that these people lack, right? Because we understand and are preparing and are ready for these things to happen. And these are prophesied, for the world to come to this state, man. All right, we're looking forward for these things because when all these things are happening, it's just letting us know we are inching closer and closer to the kingdom and closer to salvation. All right, and Lord willing, we are part of that number to be saved out of this place. These are the things we are looking for. We are looking forward to chaos, all hell break loose, World War III, just full out, utter, anarchy out here, man. Okay. Right? People were spazzing just because, cell service is out, man. Imagine when internet's gone, your car's not moving, right? Perfect example, leave the world behind, all right? And I believe it started kind of the same way, too. I believe it started off with the cell phones going out and whatnot, man, all right? But these are the times that we are in. We have to get right with Yahweh B'Shem Shah before it's too late. Continue doing everything we find pleasing to Yahweh B'Shem Shah. Pray, fast, repent. All right. But with that being said, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai B'Shem Kwakadash, that belongs to the elders and apostles of great mills on the well. Peace, blessings, salutations to the for elect that is out there pushing, laboring, believing, listening on to his truth with heart sincerity. Until next time, shalom, and a ball, Kwame Yasharallah, shalom.